Hi everyone, what's the trend for Microsoft? Let's have a look.
Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money.
What we have here is the weekly chart for Microsoft. At the end of 2029, this spot here, price has pretty much gone parabolic. I've also drawn this line here, trend line, where price over the past 7 years has been respecting it tremendously. And then I've drawn this upper trend line as well. Now, this trend line here is not validated. Okay, there's only one contact point here on the weekly and a second one here. What we should see, or what we would want to see, is a third touch of that so that we can really call this a trend line. But I've drawn it early because I feel that perhaps it might be a magnet. So let's take a look. Here's the weekly view as well, but the time frame is closer. This zone here is the end of 21, and we are over here. You can see that this zone price has fought to stay above this black trend line, but it failed. Okay, there was divergence on the weekly, bearish divergence despite a positive gain in price. Hence the breakdown. Over the past couple of weeks, price has come back to retest this trend line. Let's go to the daily chart to get a better view. The past week has shown that price has regained dominance over this trend line. So one might say, okay, maybe this is a good opportunity to go long. It might be. If you were to go long, then perhaps put a stop below this trend line. What I do see though is bearish divergence. Today's candle, right? This is the all-time high candle. This is the candle where Microsoft hired the ChatGPT CEO or something like that, Altman. They hired him today. Wow, such amazing news. There's volume, there's people buying in. Despite all that, there's bearish divergence. My feel for Microsoft is there isn't that much more upside. You can see that there's this upper trend line here. I'm going to go back to the weekly. This upper trend line hasn't been confirmed. I've only made 2 contact points with it, right? From a weekly standpoint. It may pose a magnet. It may be a magnet for price to hit this. Okay, so it could be in the 410s, 420s, right? But that's not a lot of percent gain to play if you were to trade this ticker. And if you were a long-term investor, I feel there isn't that much upside. There's much more downside. Be careful with your long-term trade, but if price were to fail, for those who want to trade this on the short side, if price were to fail this trend line, then there could be quite a bit of space and momentum for it to go downward. Let's go back again to this chart here. I feel this zone, this is not the most beautiful chart to look at because price is right here today. I feel there's a lot of space for it to go back down. And we'll analyze it more carefully in the coming weeks. Before I make any more prediction on the price action, I just don't think there's a lot of room to the upside. Remember, this is for educational purposes only, and it's not investment advice. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, send it to your friends, and good luck with your trading.